I am blessed with the ability now. I get to lead our first panel discussion, and it's going to be fantastic. It's going to be called Leading the Way, and we have four fantastic ladies that are going to be up here in the panel with me. I'm going to introduce them one by one here. We got 3 mics up here, ladies, so I just need one to carry one up. Our first one is JENN SMIRA. JENN was originally from Portland, Oregon. JENN swiftly transitioned from a career in technology to becoming a top DC real estate agent 14 years ago. JENN and her diverse team of hand-picked agents are known for their industry experience, an impressive 80% referral-based business, and unyielding dedication to their clients above all. She serves hundreds of households each year by providing top-notch service to clients in the DMV. Their exceptional performance has earned them the number 2 ranking, the number 2 team in DC, number 8 in the region, number 41 team in America by the Wall Street Journal, closing more than $1 billion in lifetime sales, all driven by JENN's unwavering commitment to getting results for her clients. So welcome to the stage, Miss JENN SMIRA. I'm gonna make sure you don't fall there. There you go. And then next up, wherever you'd like, that works. Miss Keri Shull. Keri was blessed our stage at the last Top Producer Takeover as well and did a fantastic job. Had to have her back. Keri Shull is a frequent and charismatic public speaker who has built and scaled multiple businesses. Keri has contributed to Forbes magazine, Business Insider, Money and Entrepreneur on the topics of entrepreneurship and goal achievement. Keri is the founder of the Keri Shull team, the top-selling real estate team in the DC, Maryland, and Virginia area, and the number 21 mega team in the nation for overall volume, according to Real Trends and Tom Ferry. In 2018, Keri co-founded Hyperfast Agent. A lot of you have probably seen some of her Hyperfast Agent stuff, and an online community where real estate agents can get life-changing training and personal coaching from Keri and her husband, Dan Lesniak. Keri is also the mother of 4 children, ages 8 and under. I know, right? Braden, Kira, Grayson, and Tristan. Come on up, Keri Shull. 4 under 8, Keri. That's a full household there. Next up, karachaffindonofrio. We are blessed with Kara coming to the stage. She has over 20 years of real estate experience. She's navigated various roles, including managing hundreds of agents and overseeing $2 billion in transactions. Her mission is to fulfill client dreams while inspiring others to live their best lives. Kara integrates a logical sales process with a little magic sprinkled in to achieve wonderful client outcomes. Let's see if we can find out what that little magic is. Through her podcast, Soul Inspiring Business. You write that down. You go listen to her podcast later. She shares wisdom on creating abundant businesses aligned with your soul's purpose. Personally, she cherishes time with her husband and 3 children, fully embracing her role as soccer mom. Welcome up, Kara. And our last panelist today, I had the pleasure of seeing at a DC Real Producers event a month or 2 ago, the same one I saw Sam at, and I saw Marlena, and I just thought she was awesome, and I wanted her to be a part of the next time I was doing anything. So one of the first people I reached out to is Marlena to see if she would come. Marlena McWilliams is a former government contractor with a string of awards who transitioned to real estate once she realizes she wanted something more. As a founding member of Mascotti and Company, she focuses on education, service, and value. In doing so, she's become a top realtor in the Washington metropolitan area, armed with expertise in finance and an MBA in international business and real estate. It feels too smart to hang out and talk to guys like me. But Marlena offers not just agent services, but the fiduciary responsibility of an agent realtor. Her knowledge of the region's hottest spots and dedication to client success underscore her status as a real estate guru. Welcome to the stage, Miss Marlena McWilliams. I had a water. Did I throw it somewhere? Is that yours or mine? All right. I'm good, though. Welcome, everybody. I feel a little nervous having all these successful people up here, but hopefully we'll have a great discussion here. So leading the way. Thank you. Is it on?
Hello.
Test them. Yes.
Hello.
There you go.
Hello. All right.
There you go. They're all good.
I was going to say successful women.
Successful women. Yes. How about
Ladies
this?
in real estate.
Successful women in real estate. That's right.
Hopefully we're not making you nervous.
No, a little bit.
Okay.
I'm going to do my best not to be. We thought about naming it something women in power and empowering women, but because I didn't even realize that we had 4 great women on the stage. And then I looked at the panel, I was like, oh, wow, there you go. So now I'm a little scared. But hopefully I'll hold my own up here with these guys. But I want them to be the stars of this show, so I'm going to be quiet and watch them talk. But A lot going on in the market right now, and you four are in production, leading teams, doing a fantastic job, sleeves up every day. As these markets change, the concept of what a realtor has kind of been changing at times. What do you think the next generation of realtor looks like? I'm going to start with Marlena, if that works.
Wow.
It's like leading off with you. She's
Okay.
like, I thought I could ease into this. Donnie's calling on me first.
Yeah, I thought Jim was going to first.
Yeah.
She's in the first seat.
I know, right?
I think the next generation of realtor is going to be something that I think anybody that's been a practitioner of the practice has always been. You're somebody's advisor. You're the professional advisor. And you're going to have to find a way to make sure that you're providing all things that keep your clients ingrained into your sphere and your orifice. So that means whether they need property management, you need to have a resource. Whether they need repairs in their home, you need to have a resource. Whether they're ready to sell, buy, or invest, you need to help them create their whole economic sphere around you and around real estate as a part of their internal organism for their fiduciary growth in their life. So I think everybody should think of themselves as professional advisors of all things real estate. You're a practitioner of a practice, just like you go to a doctor when you're sick, you go to a lawyer when you need advice for legal matters. That's what realtors are to people. And I think if people take that and really believe in that and study and provide those types of services to their clients and make sure you're communicating your value. I think a lot of times people think we just open doors, and that's not what the real heart of our job is. It's helping them figure out their strategic plan, negotiate the best deal for themselves, and find the right property. And you need to be able to communicate that, show your value, and have all your B team sources to provide those services to your clients. They're looking for a one-stop shop, and we're the professionals that they go to first. So big ups to all you guys.
I like it. I like it. Good stuff. What do you think, Jen? Probably similar stuff, but I'm sure you got your own spin,
Absolutely.
right?
Showing your value, high touch, servicing your client. Of course, that's number one. But what's also what we're hearing a lot about is technology. And will AI replace us? The answer is no.
Right.
No.
Yeah,
No.
you said it.
No. People don't realize what is involved. We're emotional support animals too, for our clients. But
Yes.
besides that, there's so much that we do, everything that you just touched on that goes on behind the scenes. And so technology, the advancement of it, AI will not replace us. And so you have to be able to really lean into what your strengths are. Are you a solo practitioner? Are you just being a scrappy entrepreneur out there doing things by yourself? Do you need to latch on to a bigger team that's going to help you provide even more services to your client? These are things that you have to start thinking about.
Excellent. Yeah. Keri, anything to... I didn't realize your names were so close. I looked at both of you. I was like, I'm going to mess that up. Karen, Keri.
Which we have been best friends since we were 18. So
I did know that tip, but I didn't know if you guys took you as a minute to out that. But isn't that crazy? Best friends and both successful realtors now. But anything to add to what the role of a realtor looks like going forward? Or
Well, I think that, one of the things that I think whenever we have challenges, right, is that there's really two ways to see things. You can either see things through an abundance mindset and figure out, like, if I know I can't control this, like, what can I control, right? Or scarcity. And so I think the challenges right now are just forcing us to look at, okay, what can we control and how can I make the best opportunity from what I'm given, right? And so I think that a few things as we evolve as an industry, I think for so long and still, I think there's a lot of real estate agents that don't treat their business as a business. And just as Jason was giving us, an awesome business plan, I mean, the thing that you can take away from that is there are systems, there are things that happen, and there's investments that need to be made into the business. So, I used to be a managing broker. I managed several real estate offices. And the thing that I saw all the time was, people get their check and they spend it all and none goes back into the business. So how are we looking at, the future? How are we investing in ourselves and the business as we move forward? So just a few things to add.
absolutely. I saw Marlena
I was
lift
just
up
going
a
to say,
mic.
well said.
Keri, I know you got thoughts on that one.
I do. How many of you guys actually think, I want you to visualize the last client that you helped buy a home? How many of you think they would have been great without you? None. None of you can imagine them doing it without you, right? So I think the fear that is going on in our industry is the scarcity mindset. And if we're really honest, like I struggle to buy a pair of shoes by myself, let alone a house. So when I think about how we add value in being a life advisor, I think it's about going deeper into life events with our clients, because in this area we're blessed. They move a lot because they have to buy a condo, and then they need to buy a townhouse, and then they buy a single family home. So they're moving more, right? What's the average amount of time that a family lives in a house in the DMV? 5 to 7, right? And the last couple years, they may have stretched that a little bit.
Because we're locked in.
Yeah. So in other areas, they have to stay in relationship with their clients for 15 years because they only buy and sell once or twice. We're really fortunate. Can we all agree on that?
Absolutely.
So being there in their life events, what are the life events that we need to be able to be advisors and direct them to the right relationships to help them? When they're having a baby, when they're getting married, when they're going through a divorce, when they're dealing with death in their family. When I started thinking about the evolution of real estate agents and what we need to do, my thought was go deeper on the moments that don't involve us. So when they need us, we're the first people that they think of.
It's so interesting because, I had Lindsay up earlier and she was talking about building this big social media following, and it had very little to do with real estate. It was the same idea. Get them to like you about different things. Connect with them on things that they care about, and then you're there when it's time for the real estate stuff, right? So very similar thoughts there. I'm going to start with you, Kara, on this one. How are you demonstrating your value to your consumers today? And has that evolved at all, or do you see it evolving with some of the fun things going on in today's industry?
Yeah. Well, I think that to your point, relationships, and I think as technology increases and we've got AI and all of this, I think relationships become even more important, right? And so I think that just as Keri mentioned, staying in relationship with your people, right, and helping them in all aspects. I tell them, when they close on a home, I want to be their first call when they need an electrician, when they need it. It's proving your value in not just the moment that they're selling, but in life, right? How can you be that advisor? And then I think there's kind of two things to think about. It's how can you value them so that they just like you and you're a nice person that knows what they're doing and stays on top of life events and all of that. But then how are you showing them value that you're the person that they want to use when it comes to real estate? Like, what are you doing to invest in yourself, in your business, to make sure that you do know what's on top of market trends? Are you previewing homes? Like, what are the daily activities that you're doing to stay on top of the market? Because sometimes, and you may have heard this from someone where they say, I can't believe this client didn't use me. This is my cousin, or this is my brother, or my best friend, right? And the thing is, they probably didn't use you because they probably didn't perceive that their perceived value of you was not as high that you knew exactly how to navigate the real estate market for them, right? They may love you, but they don't trust that you're the best person for the job. So I want to earn the business from my family, not because I'm their family member, but because I am the absolute best person to help advise them. So that's what everything you do should be filtered through that lens of how can I be the best advisor? To be the best advisor, you have to be at the top of your game. You have to invest in yourself and your business.
Absolutely. I'm going to stop and ask a follow-up real quick. Because you're staying on top of market trends and activities, what's going on in the market. Is there something that, obviously just seeing the market and seeing homes and all, but is there something you read consistently, or something that, or any of you, that is there something that's on your reading list every morning, or is there a source of statistics or anything that any of you guys like that keeps you on top of either your hyperlocal market or our DMV market or the nation? Is there something that you like reading? Or
for me personally, I just am in the MLS all the time looking at like what's going on in these zip codes, what's the new inventory. I mean, even with listings, right? We do a weekly market report that goes to our clients that shows, it's not just about what's sold, it's what's active and what's your new competition, right? So how are you staying on top of things?
Yeah.
But then beyond that, I'm a part of a few mastermind groups with agents from across the country. I have 2 business coaches that I have. So, you know, it's beyond that too. It's how are you staying in touch with your local market, but then how are you staying at the top of your game overall, like in business.
You guys are one step ahead of the game. At least you're coming here
right.
to learn and get educated, right? Not just hiding at home watching Netflix all day. You came out and came to educate yourself. So cheers to everybody in the crowd, first of all. Marlena, what do you think? Anything out there that you're doing to help stay on top of market trends? It's funny because you talked all about being that one-stop shop and having all the resources and a lot of the same things Keri was talking about. It's like, it's funny that there's a lot of common themes that top successful agents are going to talk about. Top successful women agents, right? Gotta make sure I throw that in every time, right, Jen? Marlena, anything you do to stay educated, top of mind, stay on your real estate game?
Yeah, so I love reading books. I read a book a month, so I think and it doesn't always have to be a real estate.
You
it's just
said that and it scared me.
So it's my peaceful time, but I do think reading books, even if you don't like reading it as much as I do once a month, like I'm reading Infinite Game. It has nothing to do about real estate. It's about strategic planning and how to build a business correctly. So finding something that is going to help you have a resource for that. I'm also like her. I go to Bright MLS, paying attention to different zip codes, using the NAR statistics in the library. At NAR, it has a lot of cool stuff in it. I'm a data nerd, so I like looking at that stuff and kind of seeing. So I go to the NAR library. I would definitely suggest that for anybody. But I would just tell everybody, you definitely want to pay attention to the trends. People are putting it out there, of course, on the TikToks and the social media. Sometimes it's right, sometimes it's wrong. But make sure that you're going to the actual source of it, like NAR or Bright or places that are actual credible sources. So.
Yeah. Jen, Keri, anything you're doing to stay on top of the market that we haven't mentioned already?
Well, I think the original question you asked was,
I
what
did
are
ask
we
a
doing?
different original question. I kept bending. Yes, so go with that one. You remember that one.
The original question. My main way of learning is through people, but I think something that's so basic, I always think about what does a buyer want and what does a seller want as it pertains to speaking to my ideal clients, right? So for a buyer, what do they all want? A house. Right? Yeah. It's just a house.
Everybody was waiting. They thought it was a trick question.
No, it's like super simple.
No, they just want a house, guys. They're buying.
It's super simple. And I see like a lot of people's value proposition gets really complex. And I just focus on how we go about finding them a house that's unique in different ways that we find them properties that other people don't know about. And you guys have a massive advantage with that because you have such a large group and you can share internally.
Yes. So. Well, we just launched the First Up app actually. It's officially launching this week. So it's so we can share stuff internally. I know you guys do a lot of that too in your brokerage. And that can be powerful, especially in an upcoming market, right? You know,
hugely
where
powerful.
Having that inventory and it's tight, if we can find inventory other places, you know, it shows our value, right? I saw somebody, I get into too many of these Facebook forums, but somebody was like, you know, they're like, oh, my buyer now just thinks, oh, I can find the same homes on Realtor.com and Zillow. Why do I need you? You know, and then everybody jumped in with all these things, and you need to hear these things. Like there's other avenues, contact, even if you don't have a big database like a big brokerage, like building relationships with other realtors that are successful in the market, you know.
100%. So little did I know that was a plug for an amazing technology that you just built.
Keri just teed me up there, didn't she?
I just teed him right up. What I think we need to talk about, and for all of you in the room that have access to that, amazing. We need to talk about how we provide unique value for our clients, right? So if they're looking for a house in an area that's hard to find a house, what are the exact steps that we're going to take as an agent to uncover additional inventory? And there's no one in this room that can't do that, even if you don't have access to that amazing app that I wish I had access to.
Sure, come on over.
Yeah, let us in. Right?
Share?
There we go.
Guys, we just got all Compasses listings too.
Perfect.
I guess we'll let EXP in. Come on over, Keri.
Okay.
I see what you're doing.
You know?
Yeah. So I think it's just important to go back to the basic needs and then figure out how you can uniquely and repetitively solve their problems and just keep talking about the same thing. And I think sometimes people get tired of saying the same things, so they get in the weeds when really the buyers that are listening to you are different buyers all the time. And so what they need to hear from you is just how you solve that problem of getting them a house.
Right.
And the same for listings, right?
Sure.
They just need a buyer. So how are you going to be the one that finds them the buyer that's willing to pay the most amount of money and meet their time frame?
I think some of that comes from a confidence level too, and a belief that you are that person. If we don't believe it ourselves, our clients aren't going to believe it. So you need to get to the point that you feel comfortable being that person, being that conduit, so you can relay that value to people. We talk about, we got to show value. We got to show value. You need to believe in yourself that you have that value and know the things that you provide. So good stuff. Memorable experiences. I love to make you go down your path, and you guys have all been successful and sold millions of homes. Well, not quite millions, but a lot. Any memorable billions? Yeah, well, billions in sales. Yeah, right. Any memorable success stories or moments in your real estate career that had a significant impact, either professionally or personally, in your career that you can think of? And anybody can hop forward if they're ready. Jen.
Yeah, I'll start with this one. Memorable experience
Yes.
would have to be my very first transaction. How many of you remember that first transaction? And did that client work with you again? No.
Mine did, but he didn't speak great English, so I don't think he knew anything I was saying.
Yeah.
Yes, Donnie, whatever you say.
But it was that very first transaction, 2009, and I was fortunate enough that it was with Meg Finn. How many of you know Meg Finn, Long and Foster?
Oh yeah, she got fired up.
Amazing woman. And I was still faxing in contracts. I wasn't on DocuSign yet.
Sarah just stopped that last week. I'm just kidding. Go.
Yeah, so it was multiple offers. We ended up getting the call. I remember I was like 9 at night. I crawled myself into bed. Meg calls and she's like, "Hi, Jen." She's like, "Yeah, you got the offer. There's just a few housekeeping items that you missed. Can you get this back to me?" And I'm like, and I remember I was like sitting on the edge of my bed and I was like, "Yeah, sure. I'll get that over to you tomorrow." And I go into the office and she said, "Are you new?" And I said, "Yes." And she's like, "Oh, you're going to learn." She said, "You're going to learn. It's like about urgency, time." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And she's like, "But look, at the end of the day," and this is the quote that has stayed with me, today, like every day. She's like, "We're all into this. We're all in this together. We all are in this together. We have to work together at the end of the day."
Absolutely.
"No problem, Jen." And I said, No. I'm going to go to the office right now and I'm going to fax it to you. So I remember I got dressed, and at that point I was with Keller Williams Capital Properties, and I rushed down to the office and faxed it over. But it was that moment where she said, that cooperative spirit to a brand new agent, at the end of the day, we need to work together.
Right.
And so I just every transaction I'm in, I just approach it with that mindset.
Yeah.
So
And
that
it's
has
so
that
true.
impacted my whole career.
And it's so true. And she was probably frustrated, the brand new agent.
She bit her
wasn't-
tongue.
But she stopped and had grace and kindness in that
Yes,
moment, and it
yes.
affected you forever.
Forever.
And
Yeah.
that's
So,
super important. So
big shout out to Meg Finn.
we all need to have that. And you guys are showing that today. We're all in this together. None of you work for Samson, but you're all like, "Hey, yet." No, I'm just kidding. But all of you are up here sharing your knowledge to a room of people, and you don't know what brokers they work for, but just sharing because we're all in this together.
Yeah, the message there is when you're frustrated and you're on the other side of the transaction and you are dealing with that new person, just remember, you just can't forget where you came from.
Absolutely.
Be
Absolutely.
kind. Just be kind.
I like
We're
that.
all stressed out.
Yes.
We're all dealing with the same shit. Just be kind.
Did she win the award? Was that the first one of the day?
Yes.
I was waiting for it. I
Don't
dropped
be
the
the
first
first
word.
Yeah, you're good. You're good. Memorable experiences. I'm sure you ladies have another one.
I have a funny one because you talked about an early transaction. So no one get me in trouble here, okay? I'm going to talk about something I did that's probably not allowed.
It's okay.
Here
we
we
won't
go.
play this part of the video later.
It was a long time ago.
We'll
so I
cut this
think
out later, Jess.
I think I'm good. One of my very first clients was getting a VA loan. And so we're going through the process, and they're this adorable young couple. And at some point, I'm explaining what the earnest money deposit is. And they're like, "Oh, Keri, we don't have any money." And so I am like, "Oh, okay, I do." So I ended up putting down $10,000 on there.
10,000?
Because I wanted to win. I'm so competitive. I was like, well, at the closing table, you can give it back to me, right? And they're like,
I'm not
yeah.
as nice as Keri.
I probably would have done the same.
Yeah. I'd have been like, maybe a $5,000 deposit. 10?
Yeah, I was like, well, we got to win, right? So they've bought and sold a lot of houses and sent a lot of referrals over the years, but I had no idea how to handle it, and I just panicked.
It's called Bank of Keri.
Yeah, apparently.
Okay.
Can I sign up for this bank?
Hey, Keri, I need $10,000.
I'll pay it back
I
to
have
you.
Venmo.
That's great. That's great. Kara, Marlena, any memorable experiences that you can think of?
I mean,
It's tough
not to top that.
I know, right?
I actually have a really funny story.
We like funny.
So I was representing the seller, and we had multiple offers on this one property, and so there were a few cash offers. So I'm following up with the agents, and there was one of the really good offers actually came in. It didn't have a proof of funds attached, and so I called the agent and I said, "Listen, I just need the proof of funds. Can you send it over?" He's like, "Oh yeah, no problem. Let me get that to you." So he calls his client, calls me back and says, "Hey, Kara, I can get it over to you. Is a picture okay?"
Oh no.
A picture of the cash, like in a safe. I was like,
I had a feeling
No.
it was going that way.
unfortunately, we
Was the
cannot take
mattress
picture.
up in the picture too?
Needless to say, we didn't go with that offer, but it's a little comedic relief.
That's good. Marlena, it's tough to top all these stories
I
of
know,
cash
man.
pictures. Any memorable experiences that affected your business going forward, or something that you could think of?
All I can say is that when you get in real estate, you really realize people are a little weird. I mean, when I first started out, I was working for somebody for free because I was still in government contracting. I just wanted to learn. And they sent me on this rental appointment. And the lady, she started making me scared, okay? Because she was like, "Hey, can we get bars on the window?" And I was like, "Why?" And she was like, "Yeah." And I was like, and I didn't want to violate any ethics or code. I'm like, this is a nice neighborhood, right? So I couldn't say it. And I'm like, "Well, why do you want bars?" And she's like, "Well, my ex-husband," and she goes into this outlandish story about her husband and their abusive relationship. So then I'm thinking in my head while I'm listening to this lady, like, is he gonna follow you here? Like, do I need to get out of here? I don't know. So mine was a little scary, but it was a memorable experience. But I learned to stay calm in that moment because she was rattling off, and I just felt, I was nervous, but I felt if I kept getting excited, she would have got excited with me. So I kind of ended it, and then I drove home and I called my mom, and I was like, I don't know. I think I'm gonna keep my nice, comfy desktop.
I don't want to worry about people trailing me.
I don't know.
We've all had those not that story, but similar things, right? You had the divorce where they've got restraining orders and you got to go 2 different closings and all that kind of fun
yeah.
stuff. Oh, I just lit up.
Yeah, I had a brother. He was mad at his sisters, and it was a estate sale. And he let the doors open and let everybody just take everything out of the house. And the sisters called me, and I was like, okay, I don't know what to do. And it was a newer transaction in my first few years, so I called my broker, and we went down that path. But yeah, he let them take family heirlooms and everything. It was great.
Oh, wow. You see it all. My first, it might have been my second transaction, my first walkthrough ever. I'm 22 years old, all nervous. I've got the full suit, trying to look all grown up, and it's a townhouse in Sterling. I'll never forget. And actually, I remember the client. He ended up joining us later as a realtor, 10 years later. But I turn the corner. I'm showing this townhouse. I don't know what I'm doing in the walkthrough. I'm just faking my way through it. And I turn around the basement, and we go to walk downstairs, little townhouse, and the basement, the ceiling is caving in. They had left, because I thought I was on top of the game, right? The contract said it said ice maker in it. And I checked ice maker, and they'd said yes to the fridge. Well, the ice maker hadn't been hooked up, but I was insistent. It better have ice. It better be ice maker better be working, right? So because I thought I was going to win, like I was going to get this technicality as my first deal. So I guess they had hooked up the ice maker, and then as they were moving out, well, they didn't hook it up correctly. So for 4 days straight, it was just pouring water from the fridge to the ceiling. The ceiling was literally caved in. The carpet was soaking. It's my first like walk through ever. I'm like, Dad, what do I do? This is outside of my, I have no idea. I don't know about this business, so 717 Breathor, Court and Sterling. You never forget. So there you go. So I had one. I didn't even realize. So I was reading the question. I was like, I got one. It's kind of interesting. All right. Back to a little bit more serious note, I guess. If you could go back and change one thing about one decision you made in building your business, what would that be? I'll start with Keri this time. One thing you could change in your business if you could go back and do a pivot earlier, or if you knew now what you knew then, what would you do differently? Keri's like, I did it all perfect.
No. Oh no, that pause is just contemplating all of the
which
all
mistake
of the
are you going to
things.
share? Gotcha.
I wish that I had been in the right rooms even earlier. So Kara and I started our career in new home sales. Anybody else? Okay. Started our career in new home sales, and I got in general brokerage in 2008. Anybody else start in that really awesome
That was a
time?
terrible time to start.
Like a couple of you. Oh, all right. Great. And we're in green. And it took me 2 years to recognize that there was a real estate world outside of my office, which sounds ridiculous, but I actually almost left the business during that time because I was so isolated. My broker had Lyme disease and was not supportive. I didn't have access to what a lot of you in the room have access to. And so I just felt a little lost and a little alone. And in 2010, I got a junk email and ended up at a Craig Proctor real estate event. And all of a sudden it was like, oh my gosh, there is a world beyond my Remax, and people have teams and they're scaling businesses and there's this level of excitement. And so that period of uncertainty, if I could go back and find my people in the industry faster and consistently put myself in the right rooms earlier, that's what I would have changed.
That's a good one. That's a good one. And it's probably more challenging to the people that watch this later than the people that are in the room that are attempting to do this today, right? Get out of your own bubble. It would have been easy to not come, but coming, investing is the first step, right? And having conversations from this.
Well, and one of the things when you're at the events, guys, what you're hearing from stage is important, but what you learn from each other is probably the most valuable thing. And so make sure that you're not just introducing yourself, but ask what's going really well in your business, because you want to find the people who are succeeding at a high level and figure out what you can learn from them that is all the way boiled down to an executable strategy, right? Yeah. So most of what I was able to accomplish by being in the right rooms was just copying smart people,
right,
and doing it fast.
There you go. Hyper fast.
Hyper fast.
See what I did there? Now I'm plugging you. Jen, any decisions you, as growing your career to the success it is now, that you wish you had done sooner or known sooner?
It's a piggyback to what Keri just explained. Looking back, I think, how many of you in this room have been in the business less than 2 years? Okay, a few of you. So I think if I could go back and start over, I think day one, I would sit down and put that business plan together. I would, I had a vision. I knew where I wanted to go. I wanted to be here. And I'm very grateful that, thank you so much. But I'm really grateful for the team that we have and what we've achieved. But it would have been great to put it on paper and then have that roadmap day one and put your business plan together. Know what it's going to cost you. Do you have the money to run that team that you think you want to have? I see a lot of people, they're a team all of a sudden, but are they really a team? Do you have a plan? What's your goal? Yeah. So that would have been, that's just one.
Figure out that plan sooner. And Marlena said it earlier too. I think too many people think about, I'm selling houses. You're all your own business owner. You're running your own business and attach it that way. Whether you sell 6 homes a year or 600, you're all running a business on that level and focus on all parts of the business. And then it will grow if you have a good plan, if you want to make it grow.
Yeah, right? Parts of the plan and what you're investing in your business, the hires that you're going to make along the way, the agents you're going to bring on, what they're going to do. Do you have the proper coaching? that's the whole cycle. So I go back to saying, are you just being a scrappy entrepreneur and like opening doors and doing this, and you're just on the circle, like the hamster wheel.
Yep.
I was going to gerbil wheel.
I knew you were looking for something.
I was looking for that word. Yeah, have that plan.
Good stuff. Kara?
All right. So 2 things, and I think hiring a coach was absolutely one of the best decisions.
Do all
that
4
I
of you
made.
have
And-
coaches?
Yes.
Yes.
And-
Every time I get up here, everybody's got a coach. I need to get a coach. Kara, go ahead.
Well, no,
I
and
had my
think-
dad for a while, I guess, right? Well, somebody coached me? No, go ahead, Kara.
Well, and what I want to say about that too is that when I hired her, I emptied out my bank account to hire her, right? So I was scared, actually. I was like, oh shit, like I hope this works.
Right. Yeah.
Right?
I'm putting all in on this.
Here it is, right? And then my
Well, you could have gone to the
business-
bank of Keri if you needed
Well,
to.
that's true.
They are friends.
She's giving it out.
I mean, we have been best friends since 18.
Oh, you definitely could have gone to the bank of Keri then. She gives it to clients.
She was my backup.
20K for coaching.
Yeah, right?
But no, I mean, I think that's the thing is that, yes, it's easy to look at success and think, well, of course they're successful because they've had this, but it takes money to run a business and you have to invest in it, going back to that. So hiring a coach. And then the other thing is, I kind of call it hustle mode versus flow mode. And
I like that.
I have the podcast is called the Soul Inspiring Business Podcast. And I believe that everything is energy. Everything.
Soul inspired business? Say it
Soul
slow.
inspiring business.
There you go. I want to make sure
Yeah.
people, it's slow so people could write that down and go listen later.
Soul-inspiring
There you go.
Business.
There you go.
Yeah. Like
Okay.
your soul inspires your business. Inspiring.
Perfect.
So, but really, again, back to like everything is energy. And so everything you do has an energetic frequency to it. And I believe that you can look around the world, like we look on social media. I mean, I still do it. I have to stop myself a little bit, but I'll compare myself to others or look at like, oh, what are others people doing? I'm going to do that, right? But I think getting really clear, and this is something that I think my coach helped me with on what is it that are my gifts? Because we all have them. What are your gifts? What do you do better than anyone else? And then double down on that, right? So I'll give you a few examples. I'm big on relationship. I talked about, nurturing my clients, and I'm big on gifting and really pouring back into them. So when I look at that and I look at I'm really good in relationship with people, I double down on that with my clients. I double down on, I created a coffee with Kara, which is I went to local business shops or local coffee shops, and I said, I'd like to pay for coffee for the next 2 hours for everybody that comes in. And then I set up a little place there, and then they are able to advertise it and offer it to their clients. This is great bonus that they get free coffee for the next 2 hours. And I know that I'm really good in relationship with people. I started as a new home sales consultant, so I basically did an open house for 4 years every day, right? And
It's a lot of practice.
So I'm really good at that. So I basically created my own open house at a coffee shop, right? So what are things that you do that are just you're really naturally good at, and then align business strategies and principles with that? And then, there's, when I say hustle versus flow, when you're in that energy of who you are naturally in the world and expanding into that, opportunities will come. I know they will, because I know it for myself. And so the other piece to that is creating good mantras and creating good mindset. So one of the mantras that I hold is that no matter what happens in the market, my business is always going to increase and expand. And then I figure out a way to do that, right? Because I know that that's the belief that I hold. So look at the ways that you're thinking about yourself, your business, and expand into that.
Right. I like it. Marlena, I know it's tough to sometimes, say things we would do differently, but, anything that, we're asking people to be vulnerable, what, something you messed up along the way. Tons of things. I can give you 5 I messed up today. But
I think that would be my first one, is learning it's okay to mess up.
yeah.
I think we sometimes don't allow ourselves to say, I had a bad day today, and that's okay, but I'm going to get back up tomorrow. It's something I teach my son is when he was young, when he fell down, son, get back up. So now that he's older, he says it to me. And I think as humans and adults, you have to hone that mantra yourself. I would also say, because I entered in a little bit differently and I had lots of cushion, and I kind of took advantage of that, had a adult gap year, and I was excited about it. But schedule. How many people out here actually follow their schedule? A few. Thank you for being honest.
I should.
You find out that protecting your time and your schedule is very important. And that's something that I learned, as well as having the coach, building the plan, making sure I have relationships, and finding your superpower. I think those are all great things that everybody has to focus on. And I always relate back to sports because I played basketball and I ran track when I was younger, and it was very successful. And the first thing you learn when you run track in your lane is to keep your head straight. The moment you turn and look at what somebody else is doing, you're slowing yourself down. And you just create a draft against yourself. And so you must keep focused on you and your teams, or you within your team's goal, and off of that business plan, stay focused and drown out the noise and protect your time. And give yourself some grace. It's okay to make mistakes. We're all just trying things every day. And if it works, we're like, yes. And if it doesn't, we're like, okay, I'll think about another option. So that would be mine.
I like that. Pivoting a little bit more towards our actual fundamentals, what we're doing in business today. Two-part question. You can answer one of them. Either how technology plays a role in your business, and if you like using technology in business, or if there's a number one marketing activity that you do that you really, finds valuable for creating business for you and your team, or either one, whichever your favorite topic would be, technology or any kind of marketing activity. Jen, what do you think? First, what tech do
my
you use?
Director of marketing is here. I should ask her that.
Yeah. What's working the best for you right now?
This isn't a plug to the brokerage I'm at, but the tools that we have access to really help me, streamline and create really sleek reports that my clients just want to look at. They don't want to look at a bunch of listings and photos. It's just bottom line, like lot size, columns, lot size, square foot, sale price,
Sure.
But I use all the systems. I would say for lead management, I'm using Follow Up Boss and like everybody else. But this is more of a Katie question.
For the marketing stuff.
Yeah, kind of marketing
but
stuff.
Follow Up Boss is kind of the tech that
I
you
use Follow Up Boss. Yeah, Follow Up Boss now.
Okay.
That's just for like our lead flow. And then Salesforce.
Do you buy any online leads and stuff?
Do I value or do
you
I buy?
them? I'm sorry.
I actually,
some people are, some people
actually stopped.
Okay. Just recently or a while ago?
I stopped.
As soon as the settlement happened? No, I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, I quit Zillow after being with them like 14 years.
But it was successful for you for that time?
It was successful until they introduced, what is the name?
Flex.
Zillow Flex.
Because what happened was I was.
She said that with a little bit of toot over there.
Because
sign up for Flex.
I was subsidizing the Flex partners,
Right.
and I wasn't getting any leads. And then I'm friends with people who are on Flex, and they would tell me the kind of leads that they were getting, and I was like, "What the heck?" So I stopped.
Gotcha.
So
I'm just
every
always
time
curious.
that drug dealer called, was like, "I got a zip code." I was like, "Buy."
Yeah.
So no, I don't buy leads right now. We invest.
She just called the Zillow person a drug dealer. I love it. I'm cool with it. I'm just
sorry. Can you cut that out of
no. It's
tape,
good.
please?
It's good.
I'll double down. I was like, shove it up your.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I almost was like, no is a complete sentence, right?
Yes.
So now we invest more in our website. We're
Good.
investing a lot more in our business. The leads are higher quality.
Yeah.
We have people that know our name. They've
Well,
heard of us.
yeah, and I'm
they're
not
just
knocking
people
it.
that we
But
want to work with.
I'm not saying you
Jen-
have to do online, but people spend so much money sometimes on online leads and not enough time in business on the people that are already in their
I do have a
sphere.
question for you, though. 'Cause
Okay.
I feel like there's younger.
I'm
agents.
ready.
I think to start out, you might have to give into the Zillow beast.
So when I started,
Vibe.
when I started out, again, that was be over like 14 years ago. It was a different model,
Sure.
and it did work, and those leads did work. But now, when you're paying $300, $400, $500 for that one lead, it's not worth it.
Right.
And so our business is 80% referral. Why? Because all the things that you just heard us talk about, it's the value that you're providing to your client. It's the care. It's how you're staying in touch after the transaction. You know, we do a huge client event once a year, bring their friends or family. They know that we are a part of their lives. And I think we can all attest to that. We are there for them.
Right.
So, you know, you don't need those leads.
Right.
Everything that you have, like all your clients are what we call your top 50. These are the people that are in your life. They know that when they think real estate, they're going to call you. And these people are in your life. They're there to support you. They want you to succeed. So you don't need those online leads, in my opinion. But to start off, I did. But I built my entire business through open houses. I did an open house every single weekend for the first 2 years of the business. And that's how I met all my clients. And I just sold one of them their 4th house in Kent Island. So, you know, and they started in Southwest DC. So again, it's just staying in touch. You don't need those online leads.
No. But
my opinion.
But look, if you do it, Jenn's not saying you can't do it.
Donnie here, he'll give you leads.
Yeah, there you go. I'll give you leads. Come on over.
I was waiting for that.
You opened the door for that one. I had to jump through that one, right?
But, you know, in the beginning, I did start, but then I had to turn the hose off.
But, you know, it's whatever works for everybody. So it's there's no right or wrong answer, right? You know, it's up to you.
Try it and spend your $300 a lead and see.
Carol, that's awesome. Carol, technology or marketing activity that's working good for you? What tech do you use?
Sorry if you do leads.
Marketing
activity. I don't. I've never done them.
I do.
But that's.
I do too. I don't.
You know, I've built really by relationship and referral, right?
Yeah.
So I've actually, and there's actually, do you know Ninja Selling? Have you ever been introduced to Ninja, right? So
we used to teach it. Then they told us we weren't allowed to anymore.
Oh. Well, I
think we need to cut the word ninja out. I don't want you sued again, Justin. Go ahead. Yes.
But there's that page that has the conversion rates of, right, like people that you know and their likelihood to use you versus, and the ratios go down as you get the further and further way to online leads. That's the point. So for me, doubling down on how am I creating systems around my sphere though. So I think that a lot of us say, well, we build a relationship-based business, but you have to have systems around that. And I heard Jason talk about many of the things that we're doing, like handwritten notes. We do birthday cards and home anniversary cards to every single person every month, handwritten, right? So I've outsourced it, but it's still happening. Yep. We do gifting. So
now, you didn't outsource it at first, probably, right? You probably were.
Oh, no.
Right.
Yes.
So I'm stopping real quick. Sorry, Karen. Pick back up. Is all of us say, well, we're too busy for this. Look, you're not too busy if these people that are super successful doing it, if they find time to do these while they were growing and now outsource, then you've got time to do these things. So don't just say, well, yes, you do have time. Go ahead.
One note on that, I did go through a transition period where I was in between assistants and I did do it.
There you go.
I still made it happen. Did not outsource it. So
I never forget, my assistant had 2 babies. She was nice enough to have them both in April. So it was like the busiest time of the year. And when I had to create my own stuff and, you know, it's no fun, but it's awful. She got a raise right when she came back. Go ahead.
But social media, I know you heard a lot from Lindsay Joe earlier, but you know, staying on top of your clients and what's happening in their lives. So when we see them get pets, when we see them get, you know, have babies, when they get married, we're just staying on top of all of that and sending a gift to them or a card. So like simple things, you know. And then we do client parties. So I'm a big believer in, you know, client appreciation events. And so we've done some fun ideas. Champagne yoga, which was really fun. That was,
I'm here for it.
Could people hold their pose?
What's that?
Could they hold their pose?
We had the champagne after. Not before. But I actually got a client from that. I got a client from that event.
There you go.
Because they brought a friend who
would be more fun if champagne before might have made the yoga more fun.
That's right. Yeah. But we just like rented out this bar and, you know, it was like during the day. And so anyway, so like being creative. So champagne yoga, I talked about the coffee with Kara events, the coffee shop events. And then we do actually from Keri, a Santa event.
I have a comment. I do believe that you thought of the Coffee with Kara event from all the time people bought us shots in college because you would love turning around and being like, who is that? And now she wants to create it for the world. That's right. You don't get that much as an adult, right? Like, wow, who just bought me that? They do it with her all the time. It's amazing.
They do. They're like, wow, free coffee. Who's that? I'm like, I'm right here. And then it sparks conversation. But like looking at how do you create relationships, right? And then the thing that we're now doing as an extension of that is then community events outside of that. So, I mean, right now there's some tailgating events we're sponsoring, and just looking at like, how can I, again, going back to knowing your strengths, for me, it's building relationships and it's being in conversation with people. That's my strength. So I look at how are the different ways that I can do that with my own client base, and then outside of that in the communities that I want to serve. And I've partnered with lenders and title sponsors and things like that to make those events happen. So it doesn't always have to be all your own money too. There might be people willing to partner with you. So.
Yes, excellent. Marlene, what do you think?
I agree. I think I like to be well diversified. It's a finance thing. So I always have 3 or 4 pillars of income. That's what I would advise. Pick your top 3 or 4 things. And one of mine was door knocking. I really like it. I like looking at unique doors. I got one of my biggest deals.
I've never heard
There's unique door knocking.
anybody say the benefit of door knocking is they like the unique door.
You can, when you walk around DC, you see some cool things like, wow, why would you pick that? But, okay. So I got one of my first deals literally from door knocking. I door knocked a guy, and he had a 4-unit building, sold it to a developer, 8 units, right? So if I didn't do that, I wouldn't have got it. So find your things. Do not pick more than 3 or 4 because you're human. You won't be able to do more than that. Definitely believe in the top 50, which is your spear and your raving fans, right? And then also, making sure you have your community involvement. People like being with people that are giving back. Yeah. And I like giving back, so make sure you find your things that are yours. And then I would also say, be well diversified, because when the world changes, like it did during COVID, you had to know how to do everything. And if you did not know how to do those things, you might have fell off at that point, right? And even though we were selling houses like crazy, at the same time, you had to be able to pick up the phone. So if you didn't know how to do a forward script and connect with your clients or something like that, you probably suffered and had to figure that out. Door knocking, we stepped back. You always want to give people their bubble anyway, but step back even a little bit more. And we had to adjust. So I believe in well diversification, top to 3 to 4 things. That's what you should be focusing on, and then creating your plans around them.
I like it. Yes.
Actually,
your coffee with Keri didn't work during COVID, but go ahead.
It didn't. But no, one thing I actually just learned from a friend of mine that, what she does is when they get listings, she'll actually deliver a gift to like the 5 people. She has this like candle, this really amazing package for this like little candle, and she has a little tag, and they deliver it to like 5 people around the listing, right? And then they also deliver another gift when they close and say, pardon the traffic, or things like that.
Right.
So just a little thing that also if you have a listing, make the most of that too, of that opportunity to continue to get more within that farm.
Very cool. Miss Shull.
So I was really debating between the marketing and the tech, because I'm eating a lot of frogs right now. I was talking to my team about it earlier with tech. I'm like in the weeds myself, but I always love talking about marketing, so I'm going to go with that. I think you have to know what you want to create, right? So the idea of being able to do a purely referral-based business, I'm a relationship person, and that would be awesome if my goal was to expand to a certain level or to have a certain kind of team, but I wanted to be able to grow really, really quickly. And so I went from 21 transactions to over a transaction a day, so 365 in under 5 years. And to do that, I had to be able to attract agents that wanted to align and be in business partnership with me. And I felt like I needed leads so that they could succeed at a high rate quickly. So I had to study. The first year in that coaching program, every single week I was on a script training call. The idea of being an ISA was like acid on my soul. Like I can barely sit still for long enough to be here for the whole panel, right? But I had to learn those core basics so that as we generated online leads, I could actually have them be successful and end up converting to appointments. So I think a lot of times the marketing isn't actually the problem. How many of you guys know you could generate online leads if you had money? How many of you? How many of you, leave your hands up really high. Come on, let me see you. If you had money, could you generate leads? Yes, okay. But how many of you aren't confident you would know how to convert it? If you're really honest, right? So I think it's figuring out how to make sure whatever pillars you decide, you know how, with certainty, to turn it into money, period.
I like it. That's really good advice from some of the best pros in the area. So I really love that. We're gonna end with one question that could be fun here. Unpopular opinion alert. So, what's one unpopular opinion that you feel strongly about in our industry that might be unique to you, or a thought out there that just an interesting thought from one of your heads? So, unpopular opinion alert. They're all looking at each other like,
Nobody wants to share.
I'll go first.
Okay.
Okay, so I think social media
Yep.
actually hurts most people's business more than it helps it.
Oh, I like
I
this.
agree.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Why? Because they do it poorly, or because they do
No,
what?
because they are pretending they're working when they're scrolling.
Oh.
The average real estate agent, if you were at the last
Oh
event,
no!
you
I
heard
heard you
me
say this.
this.
I'm about to be so convicted.
3 months is the average amount of time they spend scrolling social media. So I think if you're going to use...
Don't look at my screen time stats.
If you're going to use social media, you have to actually decide what is your action plan that's tactical, and how do you limit the time that you're just wasting.
Yeah. No.
Yes.
That's so it's not that you don't think it has a place, but you think just most people mess it up.
She thinks most people play.
Yeah.
I think most people pretend they're working. Oh, I work in such long
I'm on my
hours. It's
Facebook.
so hard. I'm like, baloney. You've been
Right.
scrolling on Facebook for an hour, and then you switched over to Instagram, and now you're on the TikTok.
Yes.
And I have to agree with Keri, because I think people are so worried about being perfect on
Yeah.
social media. So when they're worried about that, they spend 3 to 4 hours creating one single thing.
Yeah.
So they've wasted half of their day. And my team's heard this from me. It's kind of funny. They were kind of mad at me, but I said, guys, you don't look any better in person. So
Yeah.
just put it out there.
I love it.
Yeah.
That is so smart.
Well, and Sarah's fun. She always says, "You look how you look, you sound how you sound. Just go with it." You
And
know.
I think with that, these are such great topics. I think with that, the perception is that we're overpaid.
Yeah.
Because what is your messaging that you're putting out there on your social media?
Right.
You're not putting the grungy work.
Yeah. Like what is that messaging? And I the problem I have with it is I feel that agents are not being their authentic selves.
Yeah. They don't show the hard parts.
Like you're not showing the hard parts. You're not illustrating everything that we do. You're posting sold in one day. You didn't sell that house in one day if you listed it. How long did it take for you to prep that house? Clear out the 176 boxes that had to go to storage. Get your contractors in there. Go through and give all the design advice. Like months and months in the making. So stop saying you sold that house in one day.
Yeah.
It took you 124 days to get that house sold.
Right.
And then you positioned it because of your expertise and you sold it in one day.
You marketed and priced it and all
So
the things.
that
I like
goes
that.
back to our value.
Yeah, look at that. Was there anybody? I just
Mic
noticed
drop.
Sarah just appeared over my shoulder here. Any other unpopular opinions that you guys want to get off your chest? No, so they're like, I don't know.
Mine is that I see all the advertisements and people say all the old tactics don't work, but they actually do.
They do.
The people that are doing the volume in the business, they're using the old tactics. You always see those ads, don't door knock and don't do this. But the people are out there doing it. They may be outsourcing it. They may be using agents to learn to do it, or they may be doing it in some neighborhoods themselves, or they're dropping off the 5 boxes. They're still doing old tactics, just in creative ways.
Yeah, it works. It works.
Yes, great.
Old school stuff still works, you know.
Yes.
And I touched on tech, but you know, I'm a big believer that tech doesn't run your business. Tech we use to help enable us to do all these things better, but it's not about tech's not going to replace us and all. The old school stuff still works in real estate. Miss Kara.
Well, I don't want to end on a negative, but I will share a story.
That's okay.
You know, I mentioned that I used to manage several real estate offices for Long and Foster. And so as the broker, the common theme that I found was that the people that were complaining about the paper and the printer and all the things were all the same people that were doing zero business. It was like the people that complain the most. Like I felt like saying,
I saw like two of my managers started clapping really loud.
So I felt like saying, like, go sell a fucking house, and then I'll listen. But
Amen.
What do you need the paper for? You're not writing a contract.
Don't talk to me about your outfit. Sell a house.
But so I think that really extends into, again, kind of like where we started, right? You can either focus on what can I do? It's either an abundance mindset, right, or scarcity. And so even with all this NAR stuff that's come out, right? Mm-hmm. Like going there, do I wish it was a little bit different? Yes. But it is what it is. So how can we use this as an opportunity to be better? And quite frankly, there were a lot of people going out without signed agreements. I'm sure it wasn't any of you.
No, never.
But just loosey-goosey going out there and working for free, So now we have an opportunity to say, okay, now if somebody's going to hire us, then we have to have an agreement in place, right? So it's figuring out what are ways that we can be better. How can we have better processes? How can we be better business owners, right? And I'm a big believer. I tell my kids all the time, like it happens here first, and you create things twice, right? Once in your mind, and then it's into physical form. So just be really clear on what it is that you want to create, and then put your energy, put your focus, put everything into what you can control, and you'll be successful. So
awesome. Good stuff. Love it. Love it. So
well, I love that. We have lots of questions.
We got questions.
Coming in.
All right.
And one of the questions that I had was,
we got to watch. Keri's been sitting here for a while. She already said that she's.
Keri, I want to say that I will see your EMD and raise you the entire deposit.
Yeah.
That was my horrible number 2 transaction.
Oh
yes.
my gosh, hilarious.
The entire deposit. Thank God for the days of no doc loans.
There you go.
Yes. Well, we had one question was about how the NAR settlement is actually beneficial to real estate agents, and how do we make that argument to agents that are really in that negative mindset? And I think that you really hit that on operating on the same playing field and its mindset, and let's get back to doing the things that we were supposed to do. All right, so we have a wide variety of questions here. The first one is, what is your preferred platform for information that you use to educate your clients? Is it NAR reports? I know earlier you had mentioned you're kind of the data geek, and we've talked about Bright. But is there something that's your end-all, be-all place that you can't live without that data source?
No.
Yeah,
no.
All right.
Just Bright. I don't know. I just go. I think it's also how you present it, right?
Yeah.
And how you package it. Yeah.
I'm a big believer in showing versus telling. So in our consults, when we're talking with clients on Zoom, I'll screen share and we'll look at things and do them together. I know Keri has a whole process that she's taught me and maybe many of you called the reality check analysis, but it's all about how do you educate and show versus tell. And it's all really through Bright.
Yeah, and I think you need to know your audience, so know who you're talking to, because we have different layers, different words, and different types of presentations for different types of people, so that you can cater at their level.
It's like how you talk like dumb when you're talking to me, so I can understand it, right?
But it's true, right? Because some people want to see the spreadsheet. They don't want the pretty pictures. They want numbers. They want columns. They want to sort and dice. And some people just really want it in a nice pie graph.
Yeah. But the best data is the real-time data.
Yeah.
So, one of you said, who was it? I think Keri, you said that all of you, if you're in the same brokerage and you're working together, you need to be talking to each other.
Yeah.
You have to have that culture where you're not competitors, you're working together. And so the best data that you have is that real-time data. Once a week, we have a team meeting. We might have 22 listings, and everybody goes around and we talk about like what we achieved on a listing. I just listed a house last week. It was 165. It went up, like got my clients 400,000 more, but it was real-time data, and we saw what was happening in that specific market that week. So that's the best data that I find, is the data that you can get from your colleagues, from people that are in the know, that people have their boots on the street and they're walking around, and it's the real-time data.
Well, that's a great lead into the next question, which is, we're in an age of information overload, right? Data everywhere, information everywhere. How do you compartmentalize it and manage it all, from social media to apps to emails that are coming in to technologies to your teams to your staff? How do you manage it all on a day-to-day basis?
I'm a big believer in listening to your internal body. So something weird. I wake up at 3 a.m. without an alarm. And I do that because
That is weird.
I know. I know. But I also go to bed at 8:30.
Do you wake up at 3 a.m. too?
No. I wake up at 4:30 though. So
Best friends always together.
So, yeah. So,
On purpose?
yeah.
we are also
so
moms of
originally,
3 and 4.
yeah,
So.
because I have 4 kids, I realized I was approaching the day from this place of like, it wasn't the right energy with my kids because I didn't have everything that I needed to have cleaned up before. So I think part of it is how do you optimize?
I feel like you could do that at like 6, not 3 though. Go ahead.
No,
I'm just
because
kidding.
they have to be in the car by
I know.
like, you
I
know,
know.
so when I was
I was
working
just joking. I know. You're working backwards how many hours?
Prepared.
Yeah. Like they have to be dropped off at school early and I like to work out in the morning, right? So to be at my best, working out is something that I need to do, which as a mom, that can be hard. And I don't want to miss out on those moments when they're waking up. So then I was going into meetings, not having my email cleaned out and not knowing what are the most important things. For me, this is silly, but I just look at what I have for that day and try and focus on what's going to be the most meaningful ways of approaching each thing that I have in my calendar. And is there anything that I need to decide I can't do that day or anything that I need to switch up? And that's been a big deal because it's approaching each thing with intention and with the right energy, which Kara
I'm
talked
sorry,
about a
I
lot.
just have a question. What time do you go to bed?
8:30?
Yeah.
She's got littles.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
The next question, do you feel like there's someone in your life that helps rein you in? Because y'all are all powerful, powerhouse women, achievers. Do you feel like it's important for somebody to tell you no in life and business to help rein you in?
Yeah. My best friend is an attorney, and she thinks like one. She is a detective. But she's my sounding board. I think everybody needs good counsel, and you need good counsel outside of your industry. So I have counsel inside, but counsel outside because they hear it from a totally different perspective. She owns homes and Airbnbs because we've invested together as well. But she hears it from a perspective, and then she just allows me to be Marlena, right? And she knows who I am. She's like, so I know you did this, but what happened next? So she's honest with me back about where I am and who I am and how I need to grow. So I highly advise, as I think Jen said earlier, or somebody said that we're, therapy animals as well.
Yeah.
You need a therapy animal for you as well that allows you to be that sounding board and good counsel to you as well.
Yeah. Good thoughts.
Yep. Anybody else?
Well, she's one of mine. And also really my husband. I mean, I am really blessed that he is, I think just, life isn't a solo game, right? So it in business and personal. And so making sure that you're surrounding yourself with people that, they don't have that saying that you are, right, the sum of the 5 people that are around you the most, right? That's there for a reason. So make sure you're surrounding yourself with people that lift you, with people that can be honest with you too, and but that are going to help you in your path, because I think that's just so important.
Yeah, that's so true. For me, it would be my amazing operations manager who's here, Shelly, who is constantly
big smile from
Shelly, and Katie, and of course an agent who's been with me from day one, almost 14 years, Mark. He will just call me out on stuff if I'm thinking a little cray. So he's
We all have those moments.
We all have those people, but it's surrounding myself around incredible people day to day, and then several coaches.
So who do you feel like, and we're going to finalize this and kind of round out our session here, who in your life has been your most influential person, mentor, coach? Who do you coach with now that impacts your business the most?
Go ahead, Kara.
Okay.
First one to pick up the mic gets to go.
Yes. No hesitation, just shout it out.
I know. Well, so my business coach, her name is Jen Cudmore. She's in Australia. And
She's in Australia.
She's in Australia.
I bet she has a great accent.
Fascinating.
Yeah. And she's so I have 2. One is much more strategic in business. She is like my business woo. I would say, because her background is actually in kinesiology. She works with a lot of high-level entrepreneurs and business owners in real estate and in other industries. And really, she focuses all about alignment, right? And aligning your energetic space and aligning who you are supposed to be in the world and helping you create bigger visions. So when I say hiring a coach helped me, I think it was triple my business in 1 year. It was because she believed in something in me that before I thought it was possible, right? And so then because she believed in me and thought I could do it, because I was like, no way. And she was like, yes, Ray, you can do it.
That's awesome. That's
so, you know, I think that she has been an incredible person in my life, and I'm very grateful. So.
awesome.
Fantastic.
Keri?
For me, I think it's been different people at different seasons.
Oh,
So
love that. Yeah.
I think as your world evolves and changes, you're going to naturally flow towards people and away from people. And that's a beautiful thing. When you were saying a coach that's impactful right now that can like put you in your place right now, for me, it's my trainer and nutritionist, and she's vicious, and she will be like, you will not do that. You will not drink that drink. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
And can I tell you, I have been to dinner with her, and I'm like, damn, Inez. Like,
Well, I'll tell you that I really resonate with the meme that has the person screaming, and you're like, I told you to do one sit up. Like, I really resonate with that viciousness of that. Yes. Anybody
Marlena,
else?
anybody?
Impact?
Or Jen?
Yeah, I mean, I've had different coaches. My coach right now is great. He's in Oklahoma, but he sells millions of dollars a house in Oklahoma. And then I do meet with some smaller real estate masterminds once a month, so I really enjoy those. And they're great. And then I've had coaches and trainers and things like that. And then my family's a good resource just to kind of go back, personal, close, and then exterior as well. But yeah, definitely. I also would say if you're not at the level yet or you can't fit it in your budget, because everything costs $1 million right now, I really like listening to YouTube's in the morning, inspirational people like Les Brown and speakers. They're really good. And if you get their whole speech series to get yourself started before you can hire a coach, it's very motivational. And then you can just hear different speakers at the same time. You're not scrolling, but you're listening to like a 15-minute morning wake up. And then use the resources through DCAR. They had great speakers. They just had the Miracle Morning guy. He was amazing there. Use, the Realtor Fest. Those are all great places for you to find those type of people to hear, listen to, and get coaching from.
So before Jen gives hers, look, coaches are super expensive, but I got to throw the plug in here. Not at Samson, okay? We have Samson Plus.
Samson Plus, people.
We
Samson
have
Plus.
12 coaches that you can either do as low as $250 a month or 5% of your commission. So that's super affordable.
Super
Either
affordable,
on
yeah.
a monthly basis, you can start with one of our great coaches. So
That is
That's a no-brainer.
little plug there,
That's a
right?
total no-brainer.
Pay the money.
you hear all these people talk about coaching. I'm like,
That's a
look, I
total-
got to
that-
throw in a Samson Plus
yeah.
plug here.
Yeah,
Get it,
that's
get it.
really cool that you have
Yes,
implemented that
absolutely.
into the business model. I
Absolutely.
didn't know that.
Yes.
For me, it was my executive coach. We started 7 years ago, and prior to starting, I was running this team, but I wasn't doing weekly team meetings. I wasn't huddling with my staff. I needed to know how to become the CEO of this group and how to be a leader. And through his coaching, I've been able to do that. And I'm really proud to say, I have agents on the team that have grown their business. We business plan multiple times a year, and they are doing, 30, 40 million plus in business. But I had to learn how to do that, and I had to invest in me, and it was expensive. This is a deal. It was like $60,000 a year.
Yeah.
So this was really expensive, but it's an investment in you.
Yeah.
And again, it goes back to the business plan on what you want to achieve, how you're going to get there, how you want to voice yourself on social media. It all ties into that. So
Love
I
it.
think that's wonderful. And what I'm hearing them continue to say is they don't do all the things themselves. They surround themselves with people that lift them up and help supplement what they're doing so that they can focus on what's best for their business and the things that they do best. But it's about the mindset and attacking business and life in a positive way, not just following along and doing what everybody else does, but being authentic to yourself and your mission. Well, guys, a round of applause for these powerhouse ladies. They have done a fantastic job. And Donnie,